Hello and welcome to episode number 32 of the Everything NYJ podcast. We're back on Wednesday nights, 2 a week now. We are joined by a very special guest. We have the Buffalo Jet fan. We have Gino Pagano as always. I am Liam Johnson. What is going on, everybody?
Doing all right.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, man. Excited to be on.
Absolutely. So, we're going to do a little interview with the Buffalo Jet fan here. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to mention you could follow us on all social media platforms. On Facebook under Gino Antonio Pagano, on Twitter at Everything NYJ, and on Instagram at _Everything NYJ. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Before we get into the video, Buffalo Jet, where can we find you on social media?
The Buffalo Jet fan, as it is right on your screen, I'm mainly just on Twitter, and I have a YouTube channel that's all Jets.
Nice. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out his YouTube channel, I highly suggest it. He always has some great content on there. Definitely worth, subscribing to his channel as well. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel as well. It really helps us out. It helps bring, popular guests like the Buffalo Jet on, and it just helps us all talk to Jets fans. That's the main goal of this channel.
Awesome.
So, we're going to get into the interview. So, Gino, take it away.
All right. So, Mr. Kevin, how does it feel being a Jets fan in Buffalo? That's got to be pretty rough a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the past few years since the Bills have been really good and the Jets have been bad. I've been in Buffalo 12 years, so I did get the first two Rex Ryan years up here, and I'd say for the majority of my time here, both teams have kind of sucked. So at the beginning, The Jets were good and the Bills were bad. In the middle, they both were bad, and now it's kind of the reverse. But I go to the Jets Bills game every year. It's often at the end of the year, which sucks because it's so cold. But yeah, I'll be there for sure. And the Jets fans usually, obviously, when we were decent, like in 2015, probably had 30% Jets fans in that stadium. So we represent in Western New York for sure.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, my girlfriend goes to school upstate in Geneseo, and let me tell you, that's Bills country up there.
Yeah.
Every time I go upstate, I don't really see any Giants fans, no Jets fans. It's mainly Bills fans up there. So it definitely helps, when we have a good season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some cities are kind of mixed, but in Buffalo, it's 99% Bills for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, dang. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you get to go at the end of the year and represent and stuff. The 12 years, where did you live before? Did you live in New York or?
Yeah, I was born in Flushing, Queens, and I grew up on Long Island. Then I came up here for college, and it just kind of became home. So it's an awesome city. I just hate their football team. So people ask me oh, do you root for the Bills? And they're not playing the Jets. I'm like, no, I hate the Bills. This is it's the vein of my existence. So I was happy to see them take that L against Kansas City, and hopefully we could at least maybe get one off from this year because they obviously have a stacked team. They're going to win the division, but if we could steal that home game off of them, that would be nice to end the losing streak.
That'd be huge. We're kind of at the position now where we really need to start at least tying with these divisional games. I think we could beat New England at least once. I think we could beat Miami at least once. We have to start winning these divisional games.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If we're going to be a decent team, we got to start beating decent teams.
Yeah, and at what point does this probability get us a win against one of these teams? These losing streaks are ridiculous. I think the one that annoys me the most, honestly, is Miami, just because I feel like they haven't even been that good, and they've still been beating us. If I really want 3 divisional wins next year, I think that's reasonable. I think we could either, if we're going to split all across the board, look, I know Buffalo's good. I don't know when they became the 1985 Bears and they're unbeatable. That's breaking news to me because they lost 6 games last year. I went to two of their home games last year. They lost to both of them to teams that were not very good. I watched them not be able to score a touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I watched the Colts run for 5,000 yards against them in the snow. I watched them lose to Ben Roethlisberger with his arm falling off. I respect to a good team. I just don't know when this team became the 1972 Miami Dolphins, and I don't know when Josh Allen became the crowned best quarterback in the NFL. That's just some breaking news to me, honestly.
Right. We tend to play them pretty hard too. I mean, obviously during like the Adam Gase era, we're getting blown out by them, but we played them pretty tough last year too. I honestly believe that at MetLife the Jets could beat Buffalo. It might be a close one, it might come down to a field goal, but a win is a win.
Yeah, and that's when you become a legitimate football team, your home games against divisional opponents should always be a highly contested game. Now, when you suck,
Right.
you suck and you're getting beat by everybody. But even when you see in other divisions, like when like Seattle was Legion of Boom, the
Yep.
the average St. Louis Rams would peel a win off of them. Right? You see it in the AFC West all the time. When one of those teams is like riding high 12-4, one of those other teams that's like 7-9 can steal a home game off of them. And that's how it should be. That home game against Buffalo should be a one possession game that we just need a turnover or a play on special teams to go our way.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and you said all right there, and we both agree with you. I think when it comes to the ride, for me, I know me and Liam have talked about this a lot. I think this year is all about taking the next step and just getting those second year rookies better, and also just this year dust off those cobwebs and then take the next step because all three of us know our first few home games and away games, they're very tough until the bye. So I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
But
if
there's
you look
not-
at the first four, you have the first four, I mean, two of them were at home. Okay.
Right.
And then the other two, I think we're playing quarterbacks that Zach Wilson should be better than. We're going on the road to face Jacoby Brissett, most likely in Cleveland, and then either Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky. And then the two games where we're facing really good quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, you're at home, including the home opener, which that's going to be as electric as that stadium has been in probably a decade. I'm excited because I'm going to be there. And on
We are too.
that's awesome.
Gino's first home. It's Gino's first Jet game. Gino's
All right,
first time.
are you not? Where are you from, Gino? You're not local, right?
So I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
how'd that happen?
So I get this all the time. So I used to work for the St. Louis Rams for about eight seasons, and then my dad was a video guy for the St. Louis Rams. He went to England with them as well, facing against the Patriots, where the Rams looked good for about 5 minutes, and then it was just demolished by Tom Brady. It was cool. I got to see Sanchez and Tebow up close, Green and stuff, and I was a flag guy, like on the field with those flag guys on the sides. I was one of those guys, and I mistakenly like root for the Jets guys, and my Rams coach was like, "What are you doing? Get it together!" I'm like, "Yeah." So it's just really funny. So the reason why I became a Jets fan is McFarlane figures. My dad did a lot of those collectibles and gave it to me for like an allowance and stuff, and he gave me a crap ton of them, and here we are.
Love it.
Yeah,
It's a very unique story.
yeah.
I like
I
it.
don't hear that one often. I hear Pittsburgh or even people
Right.
from the South or the West Coast, but that's new to me. A Midwestern Jets fan. That's cool.
We have
I just grew up on Long Island.
Yeah, he's a Long Island boy. Yeah.
I used to go to Hofstra for practices and everything back when I was younger.
Yeah, me
Before
too.
they stopped doing that. Yep, it was always a good time. I remember I think it was 2010 was probably the last time I was there, and for some reason I was just so interested in the cheerleaders. I wasn't even watching what was going on the field.
Nice.
But
So,
it's really cool. I actually know like 6 people, including me, that are actually Jets fans. It's really cool get to know people through social media and to see who's like either in Chicago or Kansas City or St. Louis. It's actually been really because I always feel like I'm surrounded by Cowboys fans, Chiefs fans, Rams fans. I'm surrounded by different fans, and then once I go to New York, I'm just like, oh. So this is what it's like. So
It's interesting.
It'd be a good feeling.
definitely. Okay, so I want to talk about like your family. Are they into football? Do they give you some crap if you're a Jets fan? Are they Jets fans? Are they Buffalo fans? Tell us.
So I'm pretty much only member of my family who lives in Buffalo. So all my family is Jets fans and a couple of Giants fans sprinkled in, but all exclusively all of my friends and coworkers, it's all Bills. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why I started the channel was just there's no one I can talk Jets ball with really who lives with me or that I can go, come over to watch the game or anything like that. So that's kind of one of the reasons I started the channel. And then if you look around, a lot of the Jets YouTubers actually are not local. If Green Bean is down
Right.
in
Yep.
Virginia, and
He's all over the world.
well, yeah, he's in an RV. He's a madman.
Yes, he
and
is.
John from everything or from Jets Today, he's down in Maryland, and you got Jets Chaos with Jeremy. He's on the West Coast, and so there's a lot of Frankie from Flatbush. He's in Pittsburgh, so I think that's a common thread of people who just don't have anyone to talk to the Jets with, so they just talk to the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot to be excited about. We wanna share it out because the team is getting better now, which is really nice. But so for you with your channel, let's talk about your channel. How long have you been doing YouTube for?
I started my channel in February of this year, so like 4 months.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
And you blew up. Like I feel like you've been blowing up like each week since February. And as a fan of yours, I'm loving it for you, especially being in Bills country.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the part of that might be some of the appeal is just kind of, oh, what's this guy? He's from Buffalo. Let's check him out. I never expected to hit, however many subscribers I'm at now. I just thought I'd etch out a nice little small community to talk Jets with. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. People have responded to it really well. And I've learned a lot. I mean, if you go back and I tell people all the time who maybe are just starting or don't want to start because it seems too overwhelming. And I tell them, like, dude, go watch my first 10 videos because they sucked. They're trash. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to make some crappy videos, and you just learn and you figure it out. And I mean, I'm not going to be quitting my day job anytime soon, but it's fun to do.
Absolutely, I'm in the same boat. If my earlier videos, I'm like different spots in my room. I'm like, should I be over here? Should I be over here? I'm like stuttering in them. I don't know what to say. It's not easy, man. I started off doing it by myself, and then luckily, I found Gino, and he's helped me out so much. I'm so thankful for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It's now that we're doing two days a week now because training camp is coming up and the season's coming up quickly. I mean, this summer just kind of flew by. It's a lot to be excited for our Jets fan. And I always love getting to know people like you, Kevin, on sharing the pain that we've been through all these years, with the Jets, but also just it's a really tight community, and we are some of the best fans in the world. And I love the people that want to share that, like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jets fans there's no such thing as a bandwagon Jets fan. We can all be assured of that, right? Like if you're repping the green and white, you're doing it for the love of the teams. And there will be no late admissions once this team is good. I need to see receipts from you suffering back in the day before you high five me in the stadium or any of that. I got to know you're an OG.
Yep.
It's I need your social security number, your driver's license. I need to know it all.
I just need to see a picture of somebody crying when we went 2-14. That's all I need to see. That Raiders game haunts me with Greg Williams.
Oh yeah, dialing up that zero coverage blitz. But hey, in hindsight, I'm actually glad we ended up with Zach Wilson instead of Trevor Lawrence, which I
am too.
I wish him well. I think he's going to be a good quarterback too if they can support him. But I'm happy with where we ended up.
Absolutely, I think Zach's the man too.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so Kevin, what's your ritual watching Jets games on Sundays, or if they're going to be on Thursdays or Mondays, sometimes Saturdays? You never know with the schedule. What is your routine? Do you just have people don't get near me? Do you want people over? What's your routine? My routine is pretty boring. I usually it's Sunday, so I usually do. I'm a MMA guy, so I usually get in some Brazilian jiu-jitsu in Sunday morning, and then from that, my wife knows, hey, from 1 to 4, all the other stuff I need to do throughout the week. If you could just plop it in anywhere else, because I like to be in my own room, door closed. I don't want anybody texting me, oh, we scored, oh yeah, oh this is great, because then the thread ends because we blow it at the end, right? Then we don't talk, and then we stop talking. So no, I don't really like people over for if it's an important game. If it's Jets haven't played any important games in a while,
So yeah, I'll have people over. It's no big deal. But if it's like if we're good, if it's like a winning into the playoffs, or heaven forbid I even say a playoff game, I need like
Oof,
no distractions at all.
I agree.
And
Are you a yeller? Are you a yeller like during the game too? Like,
I yell in excitement, but when something bad happens, I just get silent.
oh, see, like my family, it's crazy over here. I live in like an apartment complex. I have like old neighbors. I'm like, do you guys hear us? They're like, no. I'm like, do you guys definitely hear us? I'm like, there's no way in hell you're not hearing us. I don't care how old they are. You
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I agree. I agree. Do you now with everything going for the Jets right now? I know we still have some time to sign some people. I know cutting some people because training camp is soon. Who is a guy that you want? It could either be on the offense or defense to sign, in your opinion.
The number one guy, and if it's not this guy, I think the position I would want to address is a veteran swing tackle would be priority number one
Yep.
for me. I think it's the most important backup position on your team besides backup quarterback. And it's nothing to do with Mackay. I know that's like a hot topic too. But either way, no matter how your tackles look, you got to have a solid veteran backup. Now, we saw that last year with Morgan Moses. Look, if we didn't have Morgan Moses on this team last year, we might have not won a game. Because seriously, if we ran out Chuma Adoga or Connor
Yeah.
McDermott blocking for 16 games, I don't know if we win a single game. I really don't. So we got to get somebody in here. And even I know JD, he wants to be disciplined, but dude, if you got to sweeten the pot a little bit to get Riley Reef in here, because if you look at the schedule we play this year, it is a murderer's row of pass rushers. We play of the 5 guys who led the league in sacks last year, we play 4 of them. And we play 3 of them in the first month. So if there's an injury early and you're running out Adoga or rookie Max Mitchell against, early in the season, TJ Watt, Miles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, that's a good way to go 1-3. So
Yeah.
it would be a shame to have an excellent free agency, a beautiful draft, and just to be losing games because we didn't add a depth piece at one position. So I think we got to do that. And then secondary would be Quan Alexander, linebacker, who I think I like him on the team. He's a good fit. I think the name Quan Alexander is a little bit carries more weight than the player at this point. I'm not positive he'd be better than Quincy Williams. I think they would have to they have to compete for the job. In my opinion, I don't think Quan Alexander is so good that he comes in and he's automatically the starter and Quincy Williams is the backup in the 4-2-5. For me at linebacker, I want to know if CJ Mosley gets hurt, who's the Mike? That's my question.
Right.
Because is it going to be Sherwood or Hamza, who, I say it all the time, those guys are 6'2", 215. That's my
Right.
size. I want a middle
Yeah.
linebacker who's bigger than me. Okay, call me crazy. All right, so
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
so if we want to bring in somebody like Joe Schobert, who could at least be the Sam when we do go 4-3, and then be the backup Mike if CJ goes down. I think I'd rather have that than
Yeah, I
like the
would too.
coverage linebacker of Quan Alexander. But if I had to pick just one, I would go swing tackle.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. Especially like you were saying, like a rookie, like kind of like Max Mitchell going up against somebody like a TJ Watt or, whatever have you. The other concern would be Zach Wilson's safety and his health. The last thing you need is him going down early. I mean, really at all, but especially early in the season. It's just like we need to know what he needs to be out there for 17 games.
Right.
We can't be having him banged up like he did last year. We got lucky with that one Mike White game, but other than that, it's like I really have no interest in seeing Joe Flacco out there. I have no interest in seeing Mike White really on the field. Zach Wilson's our boy. He needs to be on the field for 17 games. We have to protect him at all costs. Sam
I'll-
Darnold's been in the league 5 years now, and he's been injured every season.
Yeah, we gotta. I mean, and some of that was some cheap shots that Zach took that should have been penalties.
Yes.
Some of that,
Agreed. Agreed.
You're right.
I mean, I think the one that got him hurt. But I think with Lake and Tomlinson and CJ Uzama, I don't think people are going to be taking cheap shots at our quarterback anymore. Because we got
hope
some
not.
goons on the squad now who are going to have something to say about it. And look, some of that's on Zach too. He's got to get rid of the ball faster. And a lot of that was wide receivers who couldn't get open. I mean, if you're waiting on
Yes.
DJ Montgomery and Jeff Smith and Tariq Black to get open, it's going to be a minute. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
and we have some guys who it's everything. Everything goes into protecting the quarterback. Now, if you're going to blitz, we have guys who can make you pay. We have a run game you have to account for now with an added running back. So I think there's a lot that goes into that, and I think we should be better in that area. But we got to get look. I know they probably wouldn't do it because it's not like we're playing Madden. But if as the roster sits right now, if like say Fant were to go down and have to miss a couple games, I would put AVT at tackle and plug in Nate Herbig at guard. I would rather do that than
Agreed.
Adoga or McDermott. Now, they probably won't do that because they don't want to mess around with a young developing player and putting them around different positions on the line. But that just goes to show you how how unconfident I am in like Adoga and McDermott, respectively. Those guys are like CFL level tackles. They ain't it.
Yeah,
They really barely belong on an NFL roster. They're turnstiles. So we got to do something there.
I agree.
Couldn't agree more. So I want to give a special shout out to Sherman. Sherman put in the comments. He's got a question for you. How do you feel about everyone sleeping on our New York Jets?
Okay, I'm catching up with it. Win one game. Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's not going to change until we actually win games. So that's to be expected. Because I have some friends who are Detroit Lions fans, and they're all talking about their rebuild. I have a friend who's a Jaguars fan. He's saying, "No, you don't understand. This is the year." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Bro, you're the Lions and you're the Jaguars." And in the back of their mind, they're like, "Bro, you're the Jets." Right? So that's just kind of the way it is. Like, we haven't earned the benefit of the doubt from the NFL. Okay, so
Agreed.
how do you solve that? You beat the Ravens. That turns it around real quick. You go out there and you get a W at home opener against Baltimore, then people start respecting you. But I don't mind being slept on. I don't mind being the underdog personally.
No,
I mean,
I agree.
I couldn't agree more with that. I couldn't agree more with that. Do you now, with everything coming up, I want to go over the schedule with you from up to down. Like, who do you think will win against, or a tough time against, or lose? We'll start with the Ravens first. What do you think?
The Ravens, they're favored in that game, and they should be favored. But I think that the electricity of that stadium, I think they're going to be running into a buzzsaw, and I that's a W for me. I got us winning that game.
Cool. Okay, what do you think about the Browns?
The Browns, I'm going to be honest, I think that's a trap game for the Jets. I think they're going to be riding high, coming off of a win, feeling themselves a little bit as a young team, overlooking a backup quarterback who's competent in Jacoby Brissett and a really good roster on the road. I think the Browns beat the Jets.
Okay. What do you think about the Bengals?
I don't think we beat that quality of a roster 2 years in a row, unless we're going to get a Hall of Fame performance out of Mike White. So I got that as a loss.
Okay, that's fair. What about Steelers?
That's a win. Zach Wilson go be better than Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky.
Amen.
Amen. All right, what about the Dolphins?
He better be.
Yeah. The Dolphins, we can get both of those out of the way. I'm predicting that we sweep the Dolphins this year.
Ooh.
Because
Oh wow, okay.
and I
like that.
I really think that
I like that.
Tua Tagovailoa, I'm just not high on him at all. And I think that we have to atone for losing to this average team for like 6 times in a row. I think we get 2 wins off Miami.
That would really shut up their Twitter. I hate the Dolphins Twitter too. They're always
They're the worst They're the worst fan base, dude. They're awful.
Absolutely.
So that I'm going with my heart a little bit there, but yeah, I
agree. I honestly think we can. Like I mean, Tyreek Hill doesn't scare me. Like, he's one player. You know, he's obviously an elite playmaker, but you know, if you don't have the quarterback to get him the ball, you know, that's kind of like the way I've been looking at it.
And they got a nice roster. Look, they had a good offseason too. I just really think that the talent level between our quarterback and theirs is not close. So if Zach puts it together, I think we should be a better team than them.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more with that. What about the Packers?
Oh, that's probably one of our top 3 like toughest games. I think we'll play them tough though. I really do. I think we can hang in with like a 1 possession game, but I think that's probably a loss.
See, I just feel like they're not the same. Like Devontae Adams isn't there. Like I don't think that they're the same Packers as in years past. Aaron Rodgers is starting to get a little bit older now. So I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
I agree. Like
vulnerable.
I think it's going to be a loss too. But like you said, I think it's going to be a very hard fought game.
Yeah, and I also heard that even Sammy Watkins might be cut now. Coming into training camp.
I forgot he was on the Packers.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think they're going to rely heavily on the guy they just drafted.
Watson.
Yeah.
He's going to be raw though. I mean, he's an athletic freak, but coming out of I think he was North Dakota State. I'll take my chances with Sauce Gardner covering him. I like that matchup for us.
I couldn't agree more. Now, this is the one that I have been back and forth with this one. I've been really thinking really hard with the Broncos because the Broncos, for me, in my opinion, we don't know what Russell Wilson's going to do. Now, those first few games, we'll know, especially with that young, the wide receiver core. I mean, it's a good core, but we know how Judy can be. Sutton and Patrick. I mean, they're good, but are they worth that number 2 and 3 spot to get them going? Now, the running game, I mean, that's a great running game. But now they don't have Fant anymore. I know they replaced them and stuff, but I don't know. I know that defense is tough, but I don't know. I'm up and down about it. What do you think?
I think that if you just talk about like the environments to play in, I think at Green Bay, at Buffalo, and at Denver are the toughest places to go. And I know we have a brand new team, but last year I think they beat us 23-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. So, and now they add a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson. So the front half of the schedule is tough. I think I have us at like 3-4 now, which if we can be there, that's fine. I think that's a loss for me. The guy, Judy, I think is trending towards being not a complete bust, but a disappointment. The dude I want to see with a legit quarterback is Courtland Sutton. That guy's a beast. And I really want to see what he can do with a quarterback that can get him, have some more accuracy on those 50-50 balls. So
Agreed.
I think that's probably a loss, but again, I don't think any of these are going to be blowouts. I think the Jets should only have like one game because it happens to all teams where you just kind of crap the bed. I think there should only be one game where we lose by like 17 or more points. Everything else, we shouldn't have any games that are over by halftime. So in all these losses, keep that in mind.
Definitely. Well, what do you think with the Patriots?
Is that a home or away?
The Patriots. Shoot, went back. Okay. It is at MetLife.
That's a win. I think that the Patriots are going to finish last place in the division. And I know there's a floor to how bad they can be with Bill Belichick as a head coach. But to me, I kind of feel about Mac Jones, how I feel about Tua. He's all right, but he doesn't have the talent to ever be good or really good. And do they have a wide receiver that scares me? No. Do they have a linebacker that I can name? I don't know. Who's the Patriots linebackers? I don't know.
Hightower.
He's still a free agent. Hightower's not there anymore. Jamie Collins isn't there anymore. The dude Van Noy isn't there. I don't know who their linebackers are. They replaced J.C. Jackson with Malcolm Butler, who wasn't in the league last year, and they lost their offensive coordinator and replaced him with a defensive coordinator. So I don't know what they're doing down there. And they took Cole Strange in the first round, who Cole Strange's own mother didn't think he was getting drafted in the first round. I'll tell you that. That was like a third-round pick they took in the first round. So I think if you take the Patriots logo off of that team, and if you looked at all the rosters and you didn't know what name they were, Jets, Patriots, whatever, and you just were honest about the level of talent, I think the Patriots have the least talented roster in our division.
Don't they have Devontae Parker as well?
They did add Devontae Parker, but I mean, how many games is he going to play?
Yeah, exactly. He's getting up there too.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
You all right, Gino?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! It went out on me again. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, man. I didn't even notice. I keep like a blank. I'm very weird. I keep a blank screen up because if I'm like that way, I can look at the camera. Because if I'm looking at your face down here, then my eyes are weird. So I can't see you guys right now. I'm just looking at the camera.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a trick I learned from somebody after my first live stream. They were like, "Nah, you got to look at the camera because you're looking like this and it looks weird." I'm like, "All right."
I was looking at Gino like, I'm like, what is he doing? He's having like a little like panic attack. I'm like, maybe his cat's in there. Like, I don't know what that was going on.
Yeah, I was so sorry about that.
It's all
so,
right,
so
Gino. It's cool.
all right. So the Bills. So this is the first time we faced against the Bills. What do you think?
And that's also at home, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's a win for me. I know, like
I agree.
the thing is, we're gonna have some games that we think we're gonna win, like the Browns, that we're gonna lose. We're gonna have some games that we think we're gonna lose, like the Bills, that we're gonna win. That's how I'm kind of looking at this schedule. I could just go down and do the Vegas odds for each pick. That'd be kind of boring, but I'm gonna go with my gut a little bit. I think that, um, I feel like we're a decent enough team to where we can hang with all of our opponents at home. That place is going to be fired up. I like the one thing the Bills don't do well. They do just about everything well. The one thing they don't do well is stop the run. And I think that our team, our offensive line in particular, 4 of our 5 offensive linemen are really good run blockers. Besides Fant, I think we might have the best guard tandem in the league if AVT takes the next step. And obviously, Brees Hall, Michael Carter. I think we can go 2 tight ends, put a fullback in there, play some rugby, and just change the tempo of this game. Like, you're going to have to play our style of football now. And that's the last time the Jets were any good. 10 years ago, that's the way they did it. So that's a win for me.
I agree.
The Bears. I think we should beat the Bears.
Oh, yeah. The Bears might be the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Especially losing Allen Robinson too, their number one wide receiver. That's a
And
big
replacing
loss.
him with N'Keal Carey. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah, I feel bad for Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I think he's a good kid, and I think he is a good prospect. I actually, when we first lost out on Trevor Lawrence, I figured we were going to get Justin Fields, and I was feeling pretty good about that too. So, but I feel bad for that kid because they're just giving him nothing to work with.
He's in a bad situation.
And
They're
they
they're
traded Harry to get Harry from the Patriots, so it's like
Yes.
a little bit of a panic time.
yeah, it's desperate.
I am up and down about the Vikings. I know they're always going to be competing for me, but I think it's going to come down to the end with the Vikings for me.
I'm feeling us getting on a little hot streak here. I think that is a game that could go either way. I know that's on the road. I just feel like, you know what? I got a gut feeling that's a game in a dome where guys like Brees and Garrett Wilson, I think Zach really, I've had a gut feeling that that's a game Zach pops off for like 350 yards
I like
and
that.
has a really good game that game. I got a gut feeling about that game. And obviously if he does that, I got that as a win. But, they're a good team, and at home they should be favored against us. But that's going with my gut on that game a little bit too.
Let's hope that Conklin pops off for that game too. That'd be a nice little
Yeah,
touch on the game.
revenge game. Absolutely.
And then this is the Bills again, second time.
I think that's a loss. We're not going to sweep the Bills. I had us beating them once.
No.
We're not going to beat them twice.
So going down to the last 4 games now. The Lions.
And I believe we're 6. I got us at 6-5. The Lions. Same thing about the Bears. I like what they did in the draft, but I think they're just a bottom 5 team, and we're better than them.
Yeah, they're just not there yet.
No, they got to find their quarterback.
So I agree.
Yes. Is this still Goff?
It's Goff. Then they took
Still is.
they
Still is, right?
it wasn't Matt Corral. They
No.
took one of those. They took one of those quarterbacks. But like not a guy who's going to start right away.
Right. Project quarterback.
Yeah, you know what that's code for? That's code for backup.
It's a nice way of saying you're going to be a backup. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Jaguars.
Win. They're another. We beat them last year, and I don't see any reason to think we can't beat them this year.
I agree. Now the last 2, I have these as wins. It's the Seahawks and Dolphins for me. I think they're W's.
Yeah, I definitely say the Seahawks. I don't even know if the Seahawks are going to be trying to win games this year. Honestly, like, what are they doing? I can't figure out how Pete Carroll, a Hall of Fame coach, is spending his golden years coaching Drew Lock and Geno Smith. Like, what's the plan? That's a win. Now Miami, that's a coin toss. But I'll tell you what, we're at the way I had us our schedule so far, that Miami game would probably be a win and in for the playoffs. So,
What was your final
and
record for the season?
Yeah, what's
if we
final
beat
record?
Miami, that would have been 10 wins.
Okay.
10-7. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I really want to beat Seattle just to shut up Jamal Adams. I would just love that.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, he already gave us 2 first-round picks. But look, people, you say 10 wins and people start fainting. But look, 10 wins isn't a juggernaut, especially at a 17-game season. You know, like getting 9 to 10 wins is the Steelers last year with a semi-retired Ben Roethlisberger. The Eagles last year won 9 games. I mean, the Saints on their third-string quarterback won 8 games. Like you don't have to be a great team to win 10 games. And if Zach Wilson lives up to his talent and draft pedigree, and we don't get killed by the injury bug, it's totally possible for us to win 10 games.
Now, I have a quick question for you though.
Go
So
for it.
the Jets are obviously a much improved team. With the whole AFC getting a lot better, do you think that's gonna not look as good like for the Jets like showing success? Like, is it gonna be harder for the Jets to look good, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, are they gonna look like improved like to like the rest of the NFL, or because it's such a harder AFC that it's still gonna look like the same old Jets to other people? You think?
I mean, it's a fair point. The AFC, I mean, there's 5 or 6 all-pro talents that went from the NFC to the AFC, right? Including quarterback Russell Wilson, Devontae Adams, right? Chandler Jones. The thing about the AFC West, you know, how that division is so stacked. Well, those teams got to play each other, you know, so there's only so many wins that can go around. The Jets' schedule, their overall strength of schedule is right in the middle. It's like 17th or something. They didn't do us any favors at the beginning of the year. I'll say that, like having to play those first 9 teams. But I'll say this: if somebody else asks me, you know, and says, "Hey, Kevin, what do you think about this team? What do you think about the Arizona Cardinals?" You know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go through the whole conference and their whole schedule and talk about their competition. I'm going to talk about their team. I'm going to say, I don't know. Can Kyler Murray take the next step? I don't know if I'm sold on their coach. I don't know about their offensive line. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. At the end of the day, if you're a legitimate football team and you are who you think you are and you stay reasonably healthy, the competition, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like you're either that team or you're not. And every team that should have made the playoffs last year got in. Every team that deserved to be in got in. And if we want to say the Chargers, look, the Chargers had a win and in game at the end of the year, and they lost to a team whose head coach got fired and number 1 wide receiver wasn't playing because he killed somebody. So you don't deserve to be in if you can't get that dub against the Raiders. So, and especially with the 7th seed, like I think having an extra playoff seed makes up for the stacked conference. You're not going to see like an 11-win team miss the playoffs because there's a 7th seed. There's only so many losses that can go around. So I know it's kind of like a long-winded answer, but I think
that was a perfect answer.
No, I like
that matters. But I don't like going into a year with like built-in excuses. And I know that that's like legit. Like the AFC conference is stacked, but if you look at it, if you take a peek at that schedule and just look at the quarterback matchup, there's a lot of games where I think we got the better quarterback. You know, the other young guys, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Tua, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins is okay. I mean, Tua twice and Mac Jones twice, and then Fields and Lawrence, that's a 30-year season. Zach Wilson, go be better than those guys, dude. Like, I mean, I don't want to put everything on this kid's shoulders, especially since we added all this talent and all these players. But at the end of the day, his development is going to move the needle more than anything else, more than any draft pick, any signee. Zach Wilson taking that next step forward is going to be, that could be the difference between us winning 7 games and 10 games. So I like the way we match up at quarterback, and the rest of it is irrelevant. You think the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills are sitting or milling around about the stacked conference? No, they're ready to go, and we should be too.
Absolutely. That you hit it right on the head.
Couldn't agree more. So I got three more questions for you. But before I do that, the New York Jets situation report commented, I think this is the year we sweep the Patriots, split with Miami, and Buffalo is just so good. Maybe a loss or a double allows us to be a sneaky win. I agree with that.
Yeah, they lost their. So you're saying Brian Dable, they lost their offensive coordinator. That's a good point. I mean, I think Brian Dable definitely had a lot to do with the development of Josh Allen. I think, I mean, not to be breaking down matchups in July, but I think when we talk about the Bills matchup, I think Jordan Whitehead is really going to help on those Josh Allen runs that have been killing us. It seems like whenever they are 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 against us, they know they can roll a Josh Allen to the right and pull a guard and pick up an easy first down. But Jordan Whitehead, if you watch him, he's really got a knack for blowing up design quarterback runs. Like that dude, he comes screaming through the box.
Yes.
And I think there's no such thing as a Josh Allen stopper. Obviously, he's a superstar quarterback, but I think that could at least avoid the automatic first downs with his legs.
I agree, and I really do think that the loss of Dable does hurt them. I like Brian Dable. You know, before like when they interviewed him, I kind of wanted him for the Jets. Actually, you know, I think he's going to be a good head coach as well.
Oh yeah, you have your fingerprints on the development of a young quarterback, you're going to get a job. Absolutely.
LaFleur might be heading that direction too.
That'd be great news because if Mike LaFleur gets a job, that means Zach Wilson's doing good.
Absolutely.
And I'd make that trade in a second.
Yeah.
Amen. So I always ask this question because I like to see other people's journeys and stuff, and like coming to be a Jets fan to now. I know Liam's story, you know my story. What is your story from you were a kid? What was the highlight for you to be a Jets fan, and how much they mean to you?
Well, I first started watching the Jets, like where I was old enough to where I could know what was going on. I'd say about the year 2000. Because the games were on when I was in diapers, but I didn't really know what was going on. So I'd like to say I kind of grew up in the Herman Edwards, Vinny Testaverde, Curtis Martin era. And I think the first time when I went to a game, because it had been a while since I went to a game, and when you go out and you walk out and the guys are warming up and everybody, it's just like, it's like nothing else, man. When you go to your first game. And my first game was actually the game that Wayne Corbett got his season, like, career-ending injury on that punt return.
Was that the 2005 one?
Yeah, it was either 05 or 06. And that was rough. But I've been to some good ones. I went.
Was that? I think that was against the Chargers.
It was against the Chargers.
I remember watching that game, like, heartbroken. I was little, but yeah, he's my all-time favorite Jet, and I remember watching, just laying in the end zone, just like, I thought he was like dead. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, and they carted him off, and he was crying, and he knew it was done. We all kind of knew.
Yeah.
And obviously we all love Wayne Corbett, so that was heartbreaking. The probably my favorite memories were the Rex Ryan years. I think I spent like all my life savings as a senior in high school to go to the Indy and going to Foxborough when we beat the Patriots was definitely the highlight.
That must have been wild.
My Jets fandom. It was unbelievable, and I was right in the I was kind of in the corner right end zone, and when Sean Green had the long touchdown run to end it, and Rex was chasing his chubby ass down the sideline to go celebrate, and we were right there, and that was there was like a little pocket of like 8 of us Jets fans in that corner, and it was freaking awesome.
Oh, I love.
What's your favorite game that you've ever been to? Is that the one?
That's got to be the one. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I mean, I went to 2015 when we beat the Patriots in overtime with the Eric Decker touchdown. The second last week.
One of my favorite memories.
That place
was
erupted.
awesome. I was in Buffalo the following weekend when Fitz threw the season away, but
we're not going to talk about that.
I was there for that one too.
Oh my goodness!
My highlight, I was at the Bengals game last year. That's like my Super Bowl game.
Yeah, the Mike White game, love it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Gino's going to experience his first against the Ravens this year.
I can't wait. Where are you guys sitting?
We're in the like a 300 area.
Cool.
315
nice.
area. I love to be down low, but I like seeing everything. I've just been that kind of guy. I like seeing the whole field from a good view, and it just fell into my lap, and I hopped on it because I know how much these home opener tickets can go just like that.
Yeah, mid-level, to me, mid-level 300s is where it's at. Most stadiums, you could see
Yep.
everything from there. Sometimes when you're too close, then you're kind of, you can't.
Yeah,
And to me, the end zone is the worst. I hate sitting in the end zone because half the time you can't even see what's going on the other end of the field. But that's cool. Yeah, I'm going to be in the those Jet Lounge dudes hooked me up, so I'll be hanging out
nice.
in there. I'm pretty excited. They got a private suite, and like Damian, Woody, and Tony Richardson are going to be in there hanging out with us, so I'm pretty stoked for that.
I think Situation Report's going to be there too in the Jets Lounge.
Yeah, I
saw
think
that on
I
Twitter.
think he is. I think I heard he's going to be there.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty.
I'll have to come by and see all you guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll have to like find some people in the parking lot pregame, and definitely have some people to say hello to, because there's a lot of people obviously I've known for like quite some time now, but I've never met, so that should be fun.
Isn't that like the weird thing about this? Is like we're like talking to each other and stuff. Like I've never met either one of you. And it's just like, it happens like with every person like we interview, and like you interact with all these people on social media and Twitter and stuff.
Right.
It's funny. It's cool being like in this big Jet community, our little fun house, I guess.
It's like them your whole life. Like them your whole life.
Yeah.
It's like you just met the guy, but the guy, the woman, and it's like you talking about everything from when you were a kid with Jet stuff, and now it's like a walk in the park. You just know them.
Yeah, and now that we should be good, it should be getting even better.
Definitely.
Hopefully, it only gets bigger and better things from here, my man.
Absolutely.
All right. So, who's your favorite player? Favorite player. Jets all-time favorite player.
All time. Man. I mean, obviously there's some obvious ones that come up like Curtis Martin, Wayne Corbett.
Yeah.
I really loved John Abraham. Just the edge position when I was first watching the Jets, he was an animal. And he was a 15 sack guy. Haven't had a guy like that since. Was my first jersey in third grade. So I'd say John Abraham. I loved him. I mean, Chad is my favorite. Chad is by far my favorite quarterback we've ever had.
I agree. I agree.
He's completely underrated. I think if he didn't destroy those shoulders, he would have had a much longer and better career. The accuracy, the intangibles, the leadership. Chad was just a dude. And look, for 20 years, there was only two quarterbacks who won the AFC East for 20 years. It was Tom Brady 18 times and Chad Pennington twice. That's a dude right there. No,
It killed me when he went to Miami.
Oh, it sucks. I know it stings. It's like Revis with going to the Patriots, man. I'm gonna be petty, and I'm always gonna feel some type of way about that.
Me and Gino both agree with that.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so my last question for you. I think we can agree, all three of us, this was the best draft in a very long time, or in Jets history. Who was the guy that you wanted and the Jets got? Who was your guy?
So there's only one pick out of that first four that I saw coming. Well, here's the good thing, guys. Next year when we're making our mock drafts, no one can tell us we're crazy. Because what Joe Douglas pulled off is crazier than any of the freaking mock drafts I had dialed up, man.
Me too.
Yes.
Jermaine Johnson at 20. If you would have made a mock draft 2 months ago, 3 months ago, saying Jermaine Johnson at 26, people would have unsubscribed to your channel, right? But look, hey, anything is possible now. But I had Garrett Wilson penciled in at number 10 for a long time.
So did I.
Personally, I think if Jamison Williams ACL was right, that would have been a close call between those two just because of how electric his speed is. But I like Garrett Wilson a lot better than Drake London. I was so happy when the Falcons took London.
Me too.
It's just that, yeah, and they did, and you could see Joe Douglas and Saleh. They felt the same way about it too. I think it's the perfect combination of a position of need. We needed another one, number one wide receiver to go with Elijah Moore. Just the character, like he's a buttoned up pro. He's already a pro. That's what I said about Garrett Wilson. He's already a pro. He was just at college, so he's ready to go. And I think what I like about all the draft picks, but what Garrett Wilson has it too, is that they all have a really high floor. There wasn't a lot of boomer, but like Stingley, there's some boomer bust there. Travon Walker, there's some boomer bust. Even Kayvon Thibodeau, who I liked, I would have been happy with him, but there's some boomer bust there. Like Garrett Wilson, he does too many things well to be a complete bust. Is he going to be an all pro? I don't know. But his route running his ridiculous yards after catch ability. I mean, he is different with the ball in his hands after the catch. He's like a kick returner. And then the ridiculous vertical leap and the body control, like one of those three things is going to pop at the next level to make this kid a playmaker. So I feel like it was a really, and he's been healthy. So I just feel like it was a home run pick. There's not really anything negative you could say about Garrett Wilson. Do I wish he was 6'2", 210 pounds? Sure. But that's really about it. He's got an elite skill set.
He's the real deal.
He really is, man. When you watch him, it's just, he reminds me, I'd like to do a lot of pro comps on my videos, and he was a tough one to nail down because not a lot of wide receivers built and move like Garrett Wilson. I know he's a lot smaller than this guy, and I don't know how far you guys go back watching football, but he reminds me a lot of Steve Smith in his heyday with the Carolina Panthers and how he was able to play bigger than his size and how he was like shorter limbs, kind of stocky. And Garrett Wilson, like he runs like a running back. I know he's only like 190 pounds, but he's got some get off me stiff arms if you watch him. So I'm excited for him to bring that to this team. Just steal some yards. Like get this dude a screen pass. I mean, I was not to get like all into numbers with you guys, but when I was doing some homework on a video about him, his yards after catch numbers, they're ridiculous. So he led the league in forcing missed tackles. So on 27% of his catches, he forced a missed tackle. That's bonkers. His teammate Chris Olave did it 3% of the time. So he was 9 times as elusive as fellow first round pick Chris Olave. That's insane. On screen passes, the average every time they threw a screen pass towards Garrett Wilson, he would get 11 yards. So in like an automatic first down when you threw him a screen in college with good competition. Like that's bonkers. This kid is slippery, man. He's the real deal. I can't wait to see him. And he's kind of going under the radar a little bit. I can't wait for him.
I like it. I like that.
I love it because I love that combo pack with Moore and Wilson. I think I haven't been so excited about a duo like that since Marshall and Decker, and then even going back to Coles and Moss. Those guys are my bread and butter. I love the two combo packs that those guys have. I think those are our two new guys. I'm super excited about it.
I think I'm even more excited about the ones you mentioned now. Decker and B Marsh, that 2015 year, I don't know if we'll ever see that kind of like that was historic production, but it was a 1 year wonder. Right now, Moore is year 2, Wilson is year 1, so they're younger than Marshall and Decker. They're on rookie deals, and look, that was a nostalgic era. Coles and Moss and Corbett. Look, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are better than those dudes, straight up. Like I don't want to be disrespecting any wide receivers in Jets history, but Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore are built different than Lavernius, Cole, Santana Moss, and Wayne Corbett. And not to mention, Corey Davis is a pretty damn good football player himself. And then you got Braxton Barrows as a 4, Mims as your 5. I think we're deeper because in 2015, after Quincy and Unwell went down, our number 3 receiver was like Kembrell Tompkins. So it was really like the top 2, and then that was it. But now we're at least 4 deep, and if Mims can, return to anything close to his rookie form, we're 5 deep. And I know Jeff Smith looks great at OTAs, but I'm not holding my breath on that.
Me too. I agree with you.
Kevin, I do have I have 2 quick questions for you before we let you go. Do you see any surprise cuts in training camp? Because it's gonna be hard to make the team this year.
I think the first place on the roster I'm looking at the number of defensive linemen we have, and I'm like, okay, we're not going to keep 12 defensive linemen. So I think the locks are Lawson, JJ, Quinnen, JFM. Rankins is going to make it because he's making too much money. Clemens is going to make it because he's a draft pick. So they really like Nathan Shepard. I don't get it.
Yeah,
to me,
I don't know why.
Nathan Shepard has played over 30% of the snaps on this team the last 2 years, and I'm kind of done with that. I'd like to see Jonathan Marshall, the young kid they took last year, get more of those reps. I think either Bryce Huff or Vinny Curry, I don't think both of them make it. And I know this is an unpopular opinion amongst Jets fans because Vinny is such a loved guy, but I'd rather keep the younger guy in Bryce Huff, who's, when he was healthy in the beginning of the year, his speed off the edge was it was electric, and then he was hurt. He didn't come back right. So if he's fully healthy, I think Vinny Curry could be cut. And then I don't know if we call it a surprise, but I don't see a future for guys like Ashton Davis or Ty Johnson on this team either.
Yeah, Ty Johnson, maybe even P. Ryan, possibly
Him,
as well.
Yeah, him too. I think if we're gonna, I think it's gonna be Brees, Michael Carter, and then Coleman as your three. And then if we keep a fourth, I roll with the Bam Knight. I roll with the rookie because Ty Johnson led all NFL running backs last year in drops, so you're done. And then LaMichael P. Ryan, I don't even know what he looks like. He's like Bigfoot. I never see him on the field. Like, I know he's on the Jets, but apparently he's a member of the New York Jets. I've like never seen him. So what have you done for me lately, LaMichael P. Ryan? I'm sorry. Adios.
I think they still have Austin Walter too.
They cut him
at running back.
Yeah,
Did they?
They cut it, and I liked him. He ran hard last year. He came in and gave us some juice. I'm surprised that he was the first one they cut out of. They cut him before Johnson or P. Ryan. I was surprised. I liked him.
I didn't even know they cut him. That's a new
yeah.
They cut him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
All right. And then I do have one more question for you. So, what do you think Zach Wilson's numbers are this year? Like realistically.
Well, I think we could all agree that we need legitimate 21st century stats out of Zach Wilson. So at a minimum, that's got to be 3,500 yards, 20-something touchdowns, and a completion percentage above 60. That's like the floor. Otherwise, we're really concerned. Now, to give like an actual prediction, I think between 3,800 and 4,000 yards is perfectly reasonable. I think 230 yards a game. That's a good number. That's like 3,900 yards, and touchdowns. I think 24, 25 touchdowns is fine. The picks, if he throws some picks this year because he's taking some chances and he's learning, what open is in the NFL still. If he throws some picks early on, I'm fine with that. Nothing crazy. If he could keep the picks to like a dozen. And to me, the biggest thing is the completion percentage. And I know last year we led the league in drops. So even if
that doesn't help,
I did the math because I'm obsessed with defending Zach Wilson, and I made a whole video about Zach Wilson having the most unlucky QB season in the history of the NFL. And I make a compelling case. I'm telling you, it's crazy. If you actually look at the numbers, it's crazy what happened to this kid last year. So we led the league in drops. We also led the league in drops on third and fourth down. It was like way worse. And dude, think about it. When you drop a pass, like if it's 3rd and 5 and Zach Wilson throws a 12-yard pass and it's dropped, we didn't just lose out on 12 yards. We lost out on all the yards we could have got because we would have had a first down, and now we're punting. Like Zach Wilson could have went on to throw a touchdown on that drive.
Yeah.
But we'll never know. And is there anything that kills more momentum more than a freaking drop? The ultimate team sport. The OC dials it up. The offensive line holds up in protection. The receiver gets open. The quarterback puts it on him. And then it's a drop. Like it's killing. And you think, well, we dropped a lot of passes. So did we bail Zach out by making some spectacular catches on contested balls? No. Like I can count on one hand the number of like wow receptions we made last year. We were bottom 7 in the league in contested catch rate too. So even if the Jets receivers last year were at league average in drops and contested catch rate, Zach Wilson's completion percentage goes from 56 to 62. I mean, that's a whole different year. That's a whole different year. So now you add in his development, you add in Garrett Wilson, you add in tight ends who can catch, you add in Becton and Laken Tomlinson. I think that completion percentage should be, and our, what the thing is, our offense calls for a lot of like layups, right? There's a lot of screens, there's a lot of checkdowns. So if you look at these West Coast quarterbacks, like, Jimmy G completing near 70% of his passes, dude, Zach Wilson should be able to be as good as Jimmy G. So I think the completion percentage is a big one where if that's like 66, 67, and that's going to be huge. But yeah, I think, Zach Wilson being like top 20 quarterback in year 2.
Realistic. Definitely realistic.
I can live with that. I could definitely live with that.
Yeah, we're definitely the same ballpark. I was thinking between 20 and 24 touchdowns and like 8, 9 interceptions. Because I'm kind of sold on the way that he ended the season. Like 2 touchdowns in like the last 5, 2 interceptions. I'm sorry, in like the last 5 games, I believe it was, or something along those lines. He really cleaned it up, and if he could head into the season where he left off, I think he's going to be a much better quarterback than he was last year.
Yeah, man, and I don't want to go over on you guys, but to talk about the turnovers, like,
Go ahead.
and look, a lot of this stuff's on number 2 as well. He's got to be better as well. We saw the screen passes skipping in the dirt. Okay, I'm not saying it wasn't any of it on him, but he threw 11 interceptions on the whole year, but 4 of them came in one game against the New England Patriots. So you're talking about over a third of his interceptions in one game, and then another 2 coming in Denver. So that's half of his interceptions came on weeks 2 and 3 against 2 of the top 5 defenses in the league when Greg Van Roten was still starting and his left tackle just went down. Then the rest of so he played 14 games. So the rest of his 12 games, he threw 5 picks. That's fine as a rookie. That's awesome. And a big thing that people don't talk about a lot is Zach Wilson does not have a fumbling problem. And that's something that's really hard to break with young quarterbacks. You see it with Daniel Jones. Listen, Daniel Jones, he's got fumbleitis, and there's no cure. He's going to be a fumbler for the rest of his life. That's something you either have it or you don't. Zach Wilson, of all quarterbacks that were sacked 40 or more times last year, every single one of those quarterbacks, some of them veterans, Carr, Roethlisberger, all of them fumbled at least 10 times, besides one. And that was Zach Wilson, and he fumbled 5 times. So he fumbled half as much as veterans who were getting sacked that same clip. Like, that's huge.
I really never even took that into consideration. That's a good point.
Like, his ball security was excellent. In fact, I thought he should have taken more chances, let it rip more with the arm, take off more with the legs.
I agree. Until we saw him getting that one touchdown with that one run. I forgot.
Jacksonville,
yeah.
52.
I was a little bit more of like, okay, Zach is starting to come for me. Zach, that's why I want to see. And when his touchdown to Corey Davis first 3 games, that I was like, okay, all right, I like that.
We have something to work with here.
Yeah, that's something to work with.
Yeah, the skill set is undeniable. I mean, have you guys seen a Jets quarterback with this combination of arm talent, athleticism, and work ethic in your life? I haven't.
Oh. And that was kind of like a conviction. A lot of people, like, heading up to that draft class were saying that, he's like spoiled. He's not a team player. Because he comes from money, he's not hungry. I haven't seen any of that to be true.
Me neither. Yeah.
That is the biggest. That's the biggest. That's such a cop out. Like, what? It's his fault that his family had money. Like, what is he?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you've been around long enough. I mean, you guys both look like you're working dudes. All right, you've been around a lot of different people, and look, I've known people, and I've never played or coached football to like past like high school, but I've been around some legitimate MMA fighters, and let me tell you this: I've been around people from Silver Spoons and Whole Foods University and all that, and people from like other countries who are refugees. And you either got that dog inside you or you don't. And I think Zachary Capona Wilson confirmed within the last 72 hours that he absolutely does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, man. The kid's had a money off season, dude. You see the pictures now. He's out there with the boys, and I know that's like when I talk about that stuff on my channel, people are like, "Oh, stick to football. That doesn't matter. He just got to win games." To me, I like to see that Zach Wilson's teammates like him. I like to see that people gravitate to him, and that he's a leader. That matters to me. It does.
We've come such a long way. We've come a long way from. I remember like I talk about it every now and then, like the fight between like the Jets and the Redskins, where that joint practice just erupted, and Santonio Holmes is like punching his own teammates. We've come such a long way.
Geno Smith getting his jaw broken by his own teammate.
Yep. And these guys, they honestly look like, even like if they weren't teammates, they'd be like best friends. How often do you see Zach Wilson and Braxton Berrios together? Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore. You're seeing CJ getting around with everybody. These guys look like they're honestly just like a bunch of dudes. They're just like they're just like, they look like childhood friends. Like they've all come up together.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see such a tight knit team. Because I think that really does. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just getting too excited. Sorry. Finish your thought. I'm
No,
sorry.
right.
I mean, I'm getting excited. I'm interrupting you.
No, that's fine. I just think being a close team definitely helps, because like they know each other's weaknesses. They know, what to say when they're down, at halftime, how can we pick this back up? They know how to motivate one another. They know each other inside and out, and I just think that that's crucial in today's NFL.
It is,
Yeah.
and when I see CJ Uzama, like a guy, a veteran, a Super Bowl champion, who's a grown man and coming over and just want to be one of the boys with like our 22-year-old quarterback, it tells me
Yeah,
that not only is Zach Wilson like a good dude and a good hang, but it tells me that they know he's the guy. They know he's the quarterback because if
right. They
they're
want to be around him.
unsure and they're thinking, oh, maybe it's going to work out, maybe it's not, maybe he's going to get benched from Mike White. Like if they're feeling that type of way, they're not broing out to that level. I'm just telling you, but they know, look, he's going to be the dude for the future. That's what that's telling me. So that, and you got to feel great about that as a fan.
I
Teammates
agree.
believe in him. That's huge, because if your teammates don't believe in you, who else will?
Right. And they
And
know they
it's a
see it
change.
at practice all the time. And I talked
Yeah.
to, I had, I was on with Boy Green and we were chatting with, Tyler Conklin for a little bit. And he, I asked him off air and he wouldn't say any names obviously, but he was telling me, when guys come in, when new guys come in, like rookies, everybody knows if they have it like right away. And like, well, they'll say all the right things. Always gotta learn. We gotta support them. But when guys come in and they bust, everybody in the locker room knows it like a year before the fans do. Like I promise you, this level of camaraderie would not have been built around Sam Darnold. Not because Sam Darnold is not a good dude, but because Sam Darnold is not as talented as a quarterback, and people weren't sold on him as that guy after year one.
That's a good point. Gino, what were you gonna say?
I just think Joe Douglas and Sala have done a great job with the switching the culture with getting the right guys together. I mean, Joe Douglas has won 3 Super Bowls. Sala has some experience with what being in the playoffs, being in the Super Bowl as well. And I think it's one of those things where they've done a really good job bringing the guys they brought in, draft, free agents, and I think that's why we're seeing such a different team now. Like you guys have been talking about with Wilson Moore and then CJ. It's this stuff that you want to see with social media and how it's progressing into just like you said, being one of the bros. That's what you want to see because you see all these other people, like all these other football teams. They do kind of the same thing. It's like we think sometimes are they really boys? Are they really like that's my guy? And Zach proved it to me in the off season, traveling to the guys' homes and stuff, and that hit it for me. I've never seen someone do that.
No, that was really cool show of leadership to me. And even at the tight end university, like he's done the transformed body, he's done everything you could possibly want. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't have Joe Douglas, think about how horrifying this would be. If Mike McCagnon was still running this team, you know who he would have loved as a head coach? Urban Meyer. You know who he would have loved
Yes,
as a quarterback? Deshaun Watson.
Watson. Yep, all the big
That's where
names.
we could be if we didn't make that move. Think about that.
By the way, your tight end university video was amazing.
Oh, thanks, man.
Checked it out today.
I appreciate it.
No problem, man. You know what's funny too is like Dan Feeney. Like I'd want to grab a beer with him, but like I don't really like want to see him like on my football team. It's just funny because he's almost like the odd man out. Like he's always hanging out with them, but like he's just not. He's not on that level. It's just always kind of funny to me.
No,
I
he
think
he seems
he's
like a
he's like a
funny
good
dude.
like moral support guy. Yeah, like all right, like he's not on our level, but he's like the fun little brother that we just bring along.
And he's got a mullet. He gets points
Yeah,
for the mullet
it,
and the
in
mustache.
the mustache. Yeah,
But yeah, if he's on
you
the
see him
field,
going nuts
something
at the
went
Ranger
wrong.
games. Yes,
Yeah, he's
I
like
agree.
shotgunning beers and
Yeah, they bring a he's like a good like he like sets the mood. Good old
absolutely.
Dan Feeney.
I love
So,
that.
all right, anybody have anything else that you guys want to get out, or Gino, Kevin?
So Jets fans, we're gonna be back on Monday, and it's going to be me and Liam, and then we have another guest coming on next Wednesday. It's gonna be another surprise for you guys. Kevin, plug in your socials. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, thanks, man. So July and August is going to be a good month for me with like some collabs and talking to some cool people you guys watching probably know. I'm going to talk to Matt O'Leary, Ryan from Jets Talk.
Cool.
Jake Asman's going to come hang a little bit. I do have and I've been DMing this person on Twitter, but I don't want to jinx it, but a New York Jets offensive starter has agreed to come onto my show at the end of July. So
Nice.
that is really, really excited for that. And if you guys let me plug in on something I'm working on with my channel,
Go ahead.
after me and Paul Boy Green started a weekly show. We did the first episode last week. So it's mostly going to be Mondays at 8, but me and Paul Boy Green have linked together, and we're going to be doing a weekly Jet show for the future. So you can come and check that out. I'm really excited that he was down to do that with me. So it should be fun.
What's the name of that show? Do you guys have a special name or?
I wanted to call it The Buffalo and the Boy, but he wasn't too keen on that. It just sounds kind of weird.
It does. Oh man, that's great.
But right now it's just like the Paul Boy Green and Buffalo show,
That's cool.
I guess, for now, which is, yeah. But it's on my
cool.
channel, so you guys can come through. It should be a fun time. He always brings the energy. You guys know Paul Boy Green, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's great.
That's awesome. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up. You know, if you guys liked the video, like I said at the beginning, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Go follow us on all social media, Facebook, Gino Antonio Pagano, Twitter at Everything NYJ, Instagram _Everything NYJ. Thank you guys as always. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the comments. Appreciate it all. Much love for Jets Nation. Peace out, everybody.